Well, hi there. Well, it is an absolutely stunning day outside, so I thought we'd do a little further investigation today on hitches and useful knots. We're going to go over my favorite way to bundle cord for packing. Um, there's tons of ways to do it. This is just the one I've settled on as my favorite. Um, and how to do a compound trucker's hitch for a tarp line, between two trees, nice and taut, and also how to do the arbor knot. We'll be using bank line for that one because it is a far superior choice to this blue cheapo polypro line. Um, don't buy this. So first things first, I'll show you why this is one of my favorite ways to bundle rope. What we have here is a figure eight wrap, and I'll show you how to do it quickly out in the woods. It's a figure eight wrap that then we take the final free end, about a tail about 2 feet long or so, and start wrapping towards itself, and then we end in a slipped constrictor hitch. And the slipped constrictor hitch gives you a little bit of a handle that you could hang it off of something to keep it up off the ground. But more importantly, lets you do this. That unbeatable constrictor hitch is completely defeated by a slip. On the other hand, the other benefit is with that constrictor hitch in place, you can pull the other free end, dispense just as much line as you need, and then tighten down your remaining constrictor hitch and not have to redo your rope wrap. So it's a good way with something like bank line, where I might only need 8 or 9 inches at a time, to be able to pull what I need free and then cinch down my constrictor and keep the rest of it tight. So first things first, let's move on to the trucker's hitch. With the figure eight wrapping style, you're not going to have any problems with your rope getting tangled and knotted up on you when it's in storage. So I'm just going to start off with a little bowline here. Wrap up so the free end lies on top of the remaining line. Come up under the loop you just made. Actually, I'm going to do this the Dutch way. Cowboy bowline. Come up, go behind your running line, and then back down through your loop. Cinch it down, and there we have our bowline, well, our cowboy bowline with the free end outside. Now what we're going to do, and I'll do this low so that you can see everything, I have a tripod on a chest rig harness that you use for camping and hiking. It is the least fashionable thing you could possibly wear, but they are handy. So what we're going to do is, with our fixed loop on one end, we're going to take our running line and we're going to create a fold in it. Just a little finger size fold, and push it through our loop. Now once we've got that, we're going to take a stick. The stick only has to be strong enough to withstand the pressures that we're going to put on it. And we start tightening it down against the tree. And this is going to be our quick release. I've learned this watching someone else a long time ago, and well, we all stand on the shoulders of giants, but it is a great methodology, because when you're done, all you need to do is take a little tension off, and then you can pull this stick out and it pops free, and you've regained all of your rope. And as long as this stick is thick enough to hold up to the strain we're going to put on it, you'll be fine. So don't use a very, very thin diameter stick. Use something, about the size of your thumb. Come over to our other tree, and we're just going to wrap our remaining line around. And now what we're going to do to tighten this and seal it off is a trucker's hitch, but I do it a little different than most. I tend to use a span loop, which we went over in one of the other videos, which is where you twist up. Now keep in mind, this direction is my free end, the new tree. Twist up, make an S shape, vertical S, like so. Take the vertical part of our S and poke it from behind up through our loop. Now we take the bottom part of the S and we fold it backwards away from us and then through the top loop. And that will give us that unbalanced span loop, which is easy to undo when we want to reclaim our rope, quite secure, and will lay in the direction that it was formed. A quick way to create one that lays the other way is to just simply walk over. You could do this backwards, but gosh, if I can remember how to do it under tension. Walk over to the other side of your line and follow the same steps, and this will make you a backwards laying. Span loop. Sorry. Fighting mosquitoes and but all we did was cross to the other side of the line so that we could make it the other direction. These don't have to be big, they just have to be enough for the rope to pass through. That one's going to be in the wrong place. All I'm doing with the line that we strung between these two trees is creating two loop knots. This could be an alpine butterfly. This could be a marlin spike slip knot. With the slip knot, you just need to make sure that you form it in the correct direction, that your rope tension will be going the proper way to resist slipping through and biting down on your rope. So now, here is the way that this is a little different from most. What you want to do is pull as much natural tension as you can. Slip your rope through the first loop. And pull as much natural tension backwards as you can. What we've done is we've made a rope-based pulley system for mechanical advantage. So we're going to pull, we're going to pull. You can see the line tightening. This would be plenty of tension for a tarp line, but now we have this remaining loop back here. And what we can do is we can increase our mechanical tension or mechanical advantage by slipping the line through and coming back the other direction. You'll see the slack developing there as we develop more tension. Now, one way you can handle the fact that the more tension you pull, the harder it's going to be harder it will be to keep that tension, is when you wrap through that final pulley, the second one, just wrap it through twice. Instead of wrapping it once, wrap it twice. And that will end up forming a black wall hitch naturally that will hold the tension for you. Now, if you're using bank line, which is what I would normally use, but it doesn't show up very well, I would make my marlin spike hitch, fold away from myself, fold away from myself. We have that window of line there. And now I take another stick as a toggle, just a hand-sized, thick enough to resist the force. And now we have a really good solid hand grip that we can pull a huge amount of tension on. To release some of that tension, all you have to do is pull this black wall hitch back the way it came to start with, and it will undo itself and let go. To finish it off, make a loop in front of the line and pass a bite through the back, and then tension it down, and that is a half hitch. I tend to do 2 of these because the half hitch is not a secure hitch, but 2 of them right up against each other always seems to go well. So this slack bit there represents the additional tension we were able to pull over just one loop. Now, to release it, we just pull those slipped pull those slipped half hitches out, break free our black wall hitch, we've already freed our line there. Pardon me. Walk back over to the other side, pull the stick out, and we are back with just our remaining loop knots that we placed in the line that can all be relatively easily removed. So now to the storage part. What you can do it depends on how long your rope is. If you just have a little bit of cordage, you can just use your index and pinky finger, go behind your index, in front of your pinky, behind your pinky, in front of your index, and just make figure 8s as you go. Just wrap, 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 wrap. I do that method for bank line, small lengths, small diameter. For larger bits, the easiest way is to trap a section of line, as long as you're going to want it to be in your pack or wherever, between your thumbs. Just lightly pinch it. We're going to take our one hand and go behind the standing line on the other side and move it back. And then we're going to take our other hand and move it behind the line on the standing end and move it back. And we're just going to keep doing that motion to create a figure 8. Now, when we're ready to finish it off, let's do a quick section here and I'll just show you. Actually, let me pause this, take the knots out of it, and we'll do it right. Okay. So, again, trap with our fingers Right hand goes behind the standing line. Left hand comes down and goes behind the standing line. Try and keep your tension roughly even, just so it looks nice and neat at the end, is symmetrical. And we just keep interweaving over top of our hands until we have a little bit left. And by a little bit, I mean probably about a foot or so. What we're going to do is, our last loop is headed this way. We're going to wrap right in that direction. So we're going to come up here with our free end, and then we're going to work backwards towards that last loop. You want to wrap this pretty tight. Just a few turns is all that you need. And then what we're going to do is create a constrictor hitch. So all you need to do is cross diagonally, just one more wrap, cross back diagonally. Okay, now to make that slip, we're going to fold our remaining line in half and poke it up under that X shape in the center there. Give yourself a little bit of slack. And just work it under. And then carefully tighten down, making sure that you don't pull the free end all the way through. And this constrictor hitch, when you tighten down, will bite quite hard into the rope. Keep your little bundle together, and when you need some line, you can just take your free end and pull some through nice and cleanly. You see how nicely that pops free? And then you can just come back up here and retighten your constrictor hitch, and your bundle will stay nice and neat without needing to rebundle it. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is go over the arbor knot, which is probably it's also called a jam knot. Probably one of the handier things to know how to do, and it's super simple. Let's see. We will take some of our bank line. You can see I've got the same structure on this. I make a lot of these little bundles and throw them into every pack I have. There's probably one in the back of my truck right now. They are just incredibly handy. As you can see, debundling a length is quick and easy. Even with a camera in front of you. Okay, so we will demonstrate this with, well, why not? Very easy. What we're tying is 3 overhand knots. Line comes over, goes back through the loop you just made. Overhand knot. You don't need to tighten this one down. This is going to be your stopper knot. You can also use, and I often do, an Ashley stopper here to give it even more of a flat, bulkier surface that can't slide through. Come down a little bit, doesn't have to be far, and make another overhand knot. This one we're going to leave a little bit loose. Okay, so we've got at our free end one overhand knot really close to the end. Then we have a loose one here. Now we go around the thing we want to attach. Morris Kohansky, the godfather of bushcraft, Northwoods outdoor stuff, uses used these towards the end of his career to make tripods. He said, why would I waste so much line and time and energy doing frappings when this system works out just as strong? Now, I haven't experimented with that myself, but maybe we'll do that together and build a bushcraft chair. So all I've done here, no, I got ahead of myself. I need to show you. So we have our loose knot. Problem with going off on tangents. So we have our overhand knot towards the end, and we have our loose knot right below it. We go around the object that we want to attach two things together, and we simply pass our free end. Mine happens to have a loop in it. We're not going to be using that. Pass our free end through and put the object we want to secure in the path. You could do this all at once, of course. This is just for demonstration. Now cinch down your second overhand knot. Drop your stick. And get this angle better. Now we're going to, all we have here is an overhand knot, and we're going to start ratcheting. We're going to start ratcheting down until those overhands meet up. Now again, when you need to pull more force, this line is very thin and will cut your fingers up quite nicely. We're going to use that marlin spike hitch technique, facing the right direction, to make ourselves an impromptu handhold. And with that ratcheting action, with a good handhold, you can make this incredibly secure, even with round on round. And when we're done with our marlin spike hitch, we just pop it free. Now, that's just two overhands that can't slip past each other. The same principle as the double fisherman's. To make this secure or permanent, we just take our remaining running end and make a third overhand knot. And what I like to do is to use my pinched fingers here and get it as tight to the other two knots as possible. So now there's an overhand knot blocking the line going this way, and there's an overhand knot blocking the line going this way. So it can't slip. And that is the arbor knot. Very, very simple, very easy. And like Morris Kachansky said, you can use this to lash cross pieces. You'd want to flatten the back of this stick to do this properly, curve it. You can use this to make quick cooking tripods, things of that nature. You can use this to bind wood pieces together. It's great for bundling stuff. You can always slip your overhand knots if you want to be able to remove it later, because these are bound permanently when you've done it like this. But that's all there is to it. Anyway, so we did a compound pulley system, trucker's hitch, tarp line, and we've gone through the my favorite way to bundle up cordage, and we've gone through the Arbor knot or bushcraft zip tie. That's it. All right. Hope you learned something. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day.